territories, Palestinian land, that there is a horrendous example of apartheid. The occupation of Palestinian land, the confiscation of that land that doesn't belong to Israel, the building of settlements on it, the colonization of that land, and then the connection of those isolated but multiple settlements, more than 200 of them, with each other by highways on which Palestinians can't travel, and quite often where Palestinians cannot even cross. So the persecution of the Palestinians now under the occupying territories, under the occupation forces, is one of the worst examples of human rights deprivation that I know.
Intellectual domain of political action, that is, the domain of trying to construct a vision of a just and free society on the basis of some notion of human nature. In that domain, we face the very same problem that we face in immediate political action. For example, to be quite concrete, a lot of my own activity really has to do with the Vietnam War, and a good deal of my own energy goes into civil disobedience. Well, civil disobedience in the United States is an action undertaken in the face of considerable uncertainties about its effects. For example, it threatens the social order in ways which, let's say, one might argue, bring on fascism. That would be very bad for America, for Vietnam, for Holland, and for everyone else. So there's a danger, that is one danger in undertaking this concrete act. On the other hand, there's a great danger in not undertaking it. Namely, if you don't undertake it, the society of Indochina will be torn to shreds by American power. And in the face of those uncertainties, one has to choose a course of action. Well, similarly, in the intellectual domain, one is faced with the uncertainties that you correctly pose. Our concept of human nature is certainly limited, partial, socially conditioned, constrained by our own character defects and the defects and the limitations of the intellectual culture in which we exist. Yet at the same time, it's of critical importance that we have some direction, that we know what impossible goals we're trying to achieve if we hope to achieve some of the possible goals. And that means that we have to be bold enough to speculate and create social theories on the basis of partial knowledge, while remaining very open to the strong possibility, and in fact overwhelming probability, that at least in some respects we're very far off the mark.
The occupation of Palestinian land, the confiscation of that land that doesn't belong to Israel, the building of settlements on it, the colonization of that land, and then the connection of those isolated but multiple settlements, more than 200 of them, with each other by highways on which Palestinians can't travel, and quite often where Palestinians cannot even cross. So The persecution of the Palestinians now under the occupied territories, under the occupation forces, is one of the worst examples of human rights deprivation that I know. And I think
even worse, though, than a place like Rwanda.
Israel has begun attacking targets in Gaza from the sea while continuing with its aerial bombardment of the coastal enclave. Witnesses claim to have heard dozens of shells apparently fired from Israeli warships. A media centre in Gaza City was hit, injuring 6 journalists. The coastal bombardment is a new development in Israeli tactics, despite rumours of a possible ceasefire. At least 49 Palestinians have died since Israel killed Hamas's military chief on Wednesday. In a pre-dawn attack on a refugee camp, another child was reportedly killed. In the West Bank city of Bethlehem, Palestinians mounted a vigilant protest against the Israeli airstrikes aimed at their brethren in the Gaza Strip. Since the start of Israel's operation, named